Our friends, our family members, we need this sometimes. We need to come together. We need some good feeling. We need some good times. We need some good conversation.
This is Diane, host of The Local Show, sitting here with Joe Rainey. Just performed 3 songs in our studios and was amazing. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me and Broder.
Yeah. You know, I've been to a few powwows in my lifetime, and I can think of going back to when I was grade school. I lived in North Dakota. I grew up in North Dakota, and attended a powwow in Newtown, a reservation out there, and it's experiencing the culture firsthand it still stays with me to this day. And so like hearing your music really brings me back to that. But I want to hear about how do I want to put this? Like, tell me a bit about your relationship with traditional Native music. As someone, obviously you grew up being a powwow singer, and now you're doing what you're doing now. But I want to hear a bit about your relationship with real traditional.
Sure. So I think that all begins here in the Twin Cities.
Mm-hmm.
As a young student of what powwow singing is, I think that was a early foundation for me to learn while I was living here in the cities. I think you start from there and you start to really focus on what it is you're learning,
mm-hmm.
but then you're really not sure like how far it goes back, or it was just something to do, or like you've seen other older people or older kids doing it, so it's like you wanted to like fall in line or go hang out with them for a little while. But that's what it started out as. I would say as myself as a a traditional song learner, I probably don't know as much as some other people, but I think when you talk about powwow and what powwow is,
mm-hmm.
I still don't know as much as other people, but I like to, experiment and, sing with, my collaborators, or, just do some things on the side that ended up, becoming an album. Yeah.
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 Well, it's really great. I mean, you've been a special guest vocalist with so many different artists, including but not limited to American superstars like Chance the Rapper, Justin Vernon, of course. The list goes on. And I imagine that working with them led to your creating your first solo EP with Andrew Broder. And I want to hear a little bit about that journey from going from that to this. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. It all started at Eau Claire's Music Festival in Eau Claire's, Wisconsin, the wonderful festival curated by Justin and his friends.
Mm-hmm.
I think conversations and relationships from there
mm-hmm.
Built, what you see today. I think just along the lines of being sampled also led to, collaborations in live settings. So with those like handful of things, in my mind or in, a group of us, we all see what was kind of happening with the combination of powwow singing and, I guess you could say modern electronic music, I guess. I think we all kind of seen it, but I think it was just someone's job to kind of maybe mold that into something like a little bit more formal.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole process started with Eau Claire's Music Festival, and then it led to conversation with Justin, going to his studio
mm-hmm.
and actually messing around and kind of doing some of the vocal things that I did then. I kind of developed into what they are now. So I think just the start of that started at Eau Claire's Music Festival in April Base and good old Justin Vernon.
Yeah. Good old Justin Vernon, right? I just need to put it out into the ether that we need to have another Eau Claire's or something like it, because I just feel like that was such a breeding ground for so much greatness.
Yeah, the art was immaculate. Yeah. Yes, in many ways, the art was there and present, and for us to be included alongside of many great musicians and artists themselves, I think that was just like a commonplace thing that needed to happen.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah. This record, Niineta, with Andrew Broder, who you just performed with in the studio today, so great. Is so. I mean, there's so many words I think of in my mind, but for one, it's original and it's kind of cutting edge. There's not many artists doing what you two are doing, if at all. Why Broder as I'm staring at him across the room.
I'm sure he probably doesn't know why yet either. He probably kind of thinks he knows why, especially going around and performing this. Getting the reaction that we've had, I think, we're both kind of just sitting there like, damn, man, what do we do? The reason I picked Broder was I mentioned Eau Claire's Music Festival. There was a time where we were helping him out with his set, and there was just a moment there where one of the dancers that was with us took the chance to just go dance with what Broder was mixing at the time.
Cool.
And it was just so seamless of a transition to where my brother Ruben, who gets mentioned on almost everything I do now. So what's up, Ruben? He started dancing, and like if you ripped Broder's music and we started singing, it would be just like the same. It would look the same. That moment stayed in my mind for a while. I'm not sure what it was doing in my mind for that long, but I mean, having a time to sit down and kind of think about, all these different samples that I've done, all these different, collaborations that we've done on stage. Maybe that did have a different platform that needed to be, set. I didn't think that I was the one to do it. I was hoping that, maybe there would be some help, but Broder, I just knew he would bring that noise that I wanted. And I knew that he was part of Death Squad's, just like I am now. So I think I wanted it to be Minneapolis noisy with, some powwow stuff that, if you've been to Death Squad shows or, randomly see me pop up with Death Squads, I basically, did what I did there with a little bit more controlled noise on my own. So I think I was just, channeling that on my own.
Mm-hmm. How's touring been? Y'all have been active.
Been good.
What is it like performing live to this music to people?
I think hitting him live is still settling in with us. Like we don't know what we have done until maybe now this week. So we just got done with 3 cities last week, but we hit him in the face pretty hard, and even in an art gallery, like that was, we let him have it. We kind of are aware of like our surroundings, like when to like drop back and do things. But I think once we start performing it and we're interchanging samples, I think that's when we really start to get in a groove. So I think performing it for people is everything that they probably expected and more, because that's like the reaction we've been getting after every show, which is like, wow, I thought I knew what I was getting into listening to the album, but in person it's different.
It is, because I saw the performance at 7th Street Entry, the release show, and you're completely engulfed in the sound, and then to see you sing the way you do, that it comes from your soul basically, and then to see Broder working magic on the it's really cool to witness and watch live, and you're right, it belongs in a live setting. So it's cool to see that y'all are touring and doing all this. Where does that channeling that come from?
My wife asked me the same thing, where she basically asked me, what am I thinking while I'm on stage?
Yeah.
What am I thinking about? Our last show was in Madison last week. Not our last show, but the last show that we did. It was during voting. It was right before a huge vote in Wisconsin that turned out, mostly okay for the governor race, but as we all know, it didn't shake out the way we wanted to. And felt like we failed, man. I felt like I should have sang harder. Or like I should have just really, because we were right down the block from the Capitol, and I want to channel all those things that I feel living in Wisconsin. Being an indigenous person living in Wisconsin, feeling the systematic, things that happen to natives in Wisconsin. It's really sad, coming from the Twin Cities. I'm not like a Twin Cities like native snob or nothing like that. It's just that you see once you move there how things are in your face. So when I'm singing, or I'm like thinking of where I'm at, or something happened, like keyboard gets lost in the airplane, like we still had a show to do, and my voice carried really well in there. It was really easy to sing, but that was like the toughest I ever sang, because I just felt like there is stuff built up inside, and there is a release point performing it live, for sure. Like, and I felt that like in a few times where, Broder's even like, damn, I'm like, yeah, that was just some stuff coming out, and it's just the way it happens, and that's a new part of performing to me, because I'm used to sitting in a circle with guys, and
right.
I have to have Broder or someone in my peripheral to kind of feel like I'm not by myself, because putting this out was kind of different for me. But performing it and having it be welcomed by everyone, I think that really kind of erased all that lonesomeness.
Big time.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, music definitely has the power to raise awareness and bring in activism. And what would you like to see come of this with some of the activism that is kind of intertwined in your music?
Treaty rights.
Yeah.
I think treaty rights is a huge thing, especially in Wisconsin, hunting and fishing treaty rights. But just even just living here, just having the space to create, having the space to make art, having the space to express ourselves artistically, I think that will lead to a lot more problem solving within the community. If we all had that space to create art, whatever that is, I think there's just so much indigenous artists out there that don't have that space to create, and there's lots of categories. If you want to break down indigenous arts, we can break them down all we want. It's regular things to us, but I think we have to really recognize what we do as being art, and we have to take care of it as such, curate it throughout time, start to think about how long we've withstanded so many things and gone through so many traumas, and making this album, I get to express some of that trauma. I also get to express the other side of it, and really wanting to put on for Twin Cities and Minneapolis, #1. Yeah. Yep.
Well, your voice is just so beautiful.
Thank you.
It's insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just sitting in the studio, it's like, like getting the chills. Yeah.
Thank you.
You have an interesting setup. You have using cassette tapes rolling while you play, and then Andrew's got some playing live piano, and then keyboards, and then some backing tracks. And tell me a bit about this crazy weird setup y'all got going on for Perform Live.
Yeah, I think it just came about by just jamming together, or not really jamming together, but rehearsing the album together. I think we kind of were starting to see spots where I could actually live sample myself. We maybe didn't know right away what that could be. Like, we were thinking of like, hey, maybe I could loop stuff or whatever, but then why not just use the straight up tapes that you have? And that will, kind of lead to, you learning how to, cut or, do certain things on the recorder that I have. It has a speed, up, down, even slow it down more if you want. But those are all from my archive. Those are all from recordings that I've done. Most of them are actually from the last couple of years and this year. So I still do record in tape, although I do record in digital. But yeah, just that came about by just thinking about how we can perform this live and how we can translate the samples that you hear in the album to, live settings. Like, Broder can just be like, okay, here's that sample, here it comes, and then there it goes.
Yeah.
But like, I could do it live.
Yeah.
And then just pull certain stuff that I have, or there's some tapes that I have that I make just for the show. There's only one side of, or 2 minutes of one side and the other side's blank, but it's all for the show. So I go through and I pick out which song I want to do. Usually where we're going, I usually pick a drum group from the area.
Cool.
People come and check out the show, they would really notice that. No, but from in North Carolina, I bust out my bros from North Carolina. I went to Iowa. A couple of my singing bros from Iowa came, and they noticed their drum group in the show. So I really am thinking about what I'm playing. Most of what I'm playing is some deceased Powwow family members that I've had. So that's another way I can pay tribute live, is to play some of the songs that they've made, or of them singing themselves. So that's another aspect of the actual tape playing during the show, is me paying homage.
So even before you started working with Broder, you had a lot of recordings that you had via cassette tape.
Yep.
Cool.
And there's just tons of other people out there who have way cooler. So that's why that's like not a regular thing I'm saying. There are people who have the stash, and who have like multiple like boxes of tapes. So that's, you know, that's something that I'm interested in right now. You know, making music and collaborating, it's wonderful. But first and foremost, I'm a diehard archivist.
Yeah. I love it with cassette tapes because it's, you know, it's kind of an outdated form of technology, yet you're using this outdated technology to make new cutting edge music, which I don't know, I find it really cool. And it gives this a certain aesthetic to the music too that works really well. Yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate all the good, kind words from everyone that about the tapes, and you know that was really just kind of happened, just like the album did. But I mean, it's been working great, and I think from here on out we'll start to add a lot more tapes and stuff like that.
It's cool.
Yeah.
You're a sports fan.
Huge.
Heard you talking about football.
Yeah.
Before
sports, my whole life, just sports.
You play, or you just a big fan of watching?
Yeah, I used to play basketball.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, Matthews Park is still mine. Indian Center Court still mine. So no one took it from me yet, even though I live 4 hours away. But you know, I come back and I shoot around on those courts and I act like it's still mine. But yeah, basketball is a huge part of my life. Brought me a lot of places. There's some relationships I even made through music. Last couple of years I've spent through basketball. So I'm a huge Minnesota sports fan, but I do live in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
I was going to say, I was like,
I'm
how was that?
Over there. Like, that's totally my style, to be infiltrated behind enemy lines. Prisoner of love, you know, holding it down in Green Bay. So
that's going to be hard in Green Bay, too, because Green Bay fans are insane.
Yeah, on top of, you know, the crazy white tears and the racism, you add that on top of being a Packer fan. And, you know, I have quite the life to live and quite the fights to fight, you know, mentally every day. But, you know, I think it's, you know, mentally tough, you know. Playing basketball, you gotta be mentally tough.
You do. I know about that.
Yeah.
I love balling.
So yeah, no, basketball is a huge part of my life. I'm a League Pass subscriber. Basketball is a huge part of my life. But I love baseball, love football. My sons are Vikings fans, so you know, we're holding it down over there behind enemy lines. But that builds character.
Yeah, it sure does.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
Your dad and a husband.
Yeah.
How's the balancing the work life?
Yeah, well, I have a day job too. I work HVAC, and just having understanding boss and, you know, owners and coworkers, that helps. But my wife is like my biggest supporter, along with my children, all 5 of them. They, you know, I made this for them. I think they helped me pull the trigger on releasing this, because I just wanted something for them to hear, you know, forever. So that's basically why I released it, and just let go of any, you know, negative thoughts or, you know, what people would think. But I made this for my family and let it go for my family, and they love it. So, but they're my biggest supporters, and I have to go places without my wife sometimes. But I've been doing good so far. she holds me up. But she's a huge part of my life, and you know, I love my family, and yeah, I did this for them most importantly.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
What do you got coming up? You and Broder, new singles? Can you plug?
Before the end of the year, we have some things dropping.
Excellent.
Before you know it, end of the year. So it's not even like close to the end. It's like before you know it, end of the year. Got some stuff dropping. We've had some people come forward that would want to, you know, see where this can go, and you know, we're happy with that. And they might have an idea or two to help me with my archive. So yeah, it's some good things already happening before the end of the year. But next year, we'll be already heading out and doing things next year into, who knows when. But I'm enjoying performing this for people now, and to really let them have it sonically in person, because that's how I am. Yep.
Thanks so much, Joe Rainey, for being here. It's been a pleasure hosting you in the studio at the Current. Anything else you'd like to add, or may not have covered?
No, just thank you for including and holding space for Indigenous artists on the Current, and I hope that continues in the future, because there's more than just a tape playing and Viking fan living in Green Bay that has, something to say. But there's a lot more Indigenous artists out there. And thank you for including me here in Indigenous Heritage Month. I appreciate it.